And now we're back, a whole week later, to finally talk about Power Rangers. Though Ethan is sadly no longer with us.
Yeah, it took us a while to hide the body, but we made it work.
Yes, we made it work. Hopefully he won't rise up from the dead as a zombie and haunt our podcast in the future.
I mean, that happened to Colta that one time.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I guess we've jinxed it, huh? Anyway, let's talk about... You know, that actually reminds me of something that happened in this movie. We're talking about Power Rangers. Rita Repulsa kind of comes back as a zombie.
I guess
Kinda. Yeah. Sort of. And then, anyway, Power Rangers, you know, we went into it thinking that it was going to be terrible. Because the trailers were terrible. It looked like, you know, it was going to take itself super seriously. You know, barely have anything to do with Power Rangers at all. The costume designs looked ugly and undistinctive. And the entire thing looked like it was just going to be a really dull, really uber dark experience that completely missed the fun of the source material.
Basically a bunch of edgy teenagers doing edgy things.
Yeah, but to our surprise, it actually turned out to be a lot of fun. Believe it or not, I can't believe this, that between the Power Rangers movie and the Ghost in the Shell movie, the Power Rangers movie is the one that actually turned out really good. Like, legitimately good. Like, I quite enjoyed the movie. There are rough spots that we'll get into. But overall, I thought that the cast was strong. I thought that the heart was there. I think it paid great respect to the franchise while updating it for a modern audience. And I definitely see the franchise potential in this film. It's a great foundation for one. I definitely approved of it.
Yeah, I was expecting this to just be god-awful, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, now there are definitely problems, and I think that we'll start off getting into them, and that the movie starts off on a really bad impression, a really cliche, I milked this cow, but it turns out it was a bull, and I was jacking its bull dick. I don't understand why they kidnapped the cow, like I guess
because
it's the mascot of their opposing team.
It's the generic high school thing to do, because that's totally what people do in high school, right?
No, It makes no sense. It's like movie teenager logic. No one actually pulls something like this. At least not smart people, but I guess, I don't know. Maybe these... Well, anyway, the sequence is dumb, but it's followed up by a really interesting sequence where, like, the main character is... The Red Ranger is driving the car, and it's like this really weird continuous spinning shot from his perspective. Like, it's only shot like that in the movie, but it's, like, really, really cool and really well directed. And I think that sets like it's kind of confusing to follow, but I think it's like that ambition that you can see in that sequence that kind of sets like a tone for the later part of the movie.
Yeah.
Now it's still, you know, it's kind of slow goings from there as we're getting introduced to the other characters. But, you know, it becomes pretty quick that you can get acclimated to, Billy and...
Yeah, I mean, the first one we get introduced to is Billy, though.
No, right? Billy's the Blue Ranger. We get
Oh, yeah, I mean after the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get introduced to Jason first, the Red Ranger, of course. So, you know, he first starts off not at all like Jason of the show, and he's kind of this moody, like, irresponsible kid, but he has a heart of gold, and, like, he sticks up for Billy and stuff. And they form a connection. And Billy's really interesting because he's a legitimately autistic character. And it's said in the movie that he is on the spectrum, so he's meant to be autistic. And I think the movie's portrayal of him was very sympathetic. And it didn't push too far into, like, making him a special snowflake. But it didn't, like, you know, make fun of him for his disability either. Like, he was just felt like a really, you know, true character, like a he felt believable.
Yeah. Honestly, he was probably my favorite character in the film.
I agree. I mean, he had a lot of good humorous moments, and he was also very much the most sympathetic and the most conventionally likable character. I could really get behind him, and they do a lot of good emotional things with him. He is the emotional heart of the team. He's the reason that they're really able to unite in the end and become the Power Rangers. So, yeah, I really like Billy. He's a great character, but all the other characters are pretty good too.
Except for Kimberly.
Yeah, except for the Pink Ranger. Okay, so this is another huge problem that I had in the movie is just the Pink Ranger, because she's okay for the most part in the movie. She has her own issues. She's being bullied at school and stuff, and you can kind of get behind her, kind of get behind her relating and forming friendships with Jason and Trini, and but then you kind of find out why she's being ostracized at school, and she totally deserves it because she sent a nude photo of her friend to her boyfriend and then to the rest of the school. And, that is not cool, taking, sex tweeting. Whatever.
Sexting? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's not cool to sex.
I'm not into the high school lingo.
Well, yeah, we're not in high school anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
The kind of that stuff. But, yeah, so that was a pretty bad decision to have your character do. I mean, she made a mistake. She acknowledges that, and she becomes a better person afterwards. She genuinely feels mournful about it, and she's probably not going to do that kind of thing again. But, later on in the movie, there's this scene where the putties are, attacking, and the Rangers are fighting them, and, a putty lands on the girls who were ostracizing her car, and, one of those girls was the person, she sent the sex out, to, so, she's that person's, the victim, but you're kind of, when the putty falls on their car, and, you're supposed, and, Kimberly's ha, yeah, serves you right, and it's was that supposed to be, was it supposed to be, satisfied about that? They're kind of, the way they're treating you isn't right, but what you did is just so much worse than what they're doing to you. You're not really justified in taking pleasure for any of their misfortunes when you cause such a big one to them. I was not really into that moment. I will say, just overall, I can't believe that they made Alpha 5 tolerable. He's legitimately funny and legitimately likable. He's a good mentor figure to the Rangers. They didn't give him
annoying his, high-pitched voice.
And he has this nice sarcastic wit, and, they made his I work. He just says it in an exasperated tone, instead of, this, excitable and, scaredy tone, and it's, it works so much better. I can't believe they made Alpha 5 work. Zordon was really interesting. Bryan Cranston plays him, so you knew you were getting good performance out of there. And Zordon is a little selfish, and he's doing things for his own reasons.
He's kind of a dick at the beginning.
Yeah, but he also ultimately has the heart of a hero. He wants to save the world, and for me to, so he's doing everything to that end. And ultimately he does do what is right for the Rangers, and he does save Billy's life. So that was a good, little arc for his character, too. So Zordon was pretty relatable. It was a pretty well-rounded character in of himself in the movie, which was pretty cool. Oh, I was also very impressed with Rita because they made her very legitimately intimidating. She's this wacky, comedic personality in the show. You can never take her seriously, but, she's kind of legit scary at points in the movie. She flat out murders people. Sometimes her actor kind of over the top portrayed her, and she was, getting a little too crazy to take seriously, but she generally felt like an intimidating presence. And especially in the scene where she was, like, confronting Trini and, like, beating the shit out of her, both physically and psychologically, like, that was a pretty spooky sequence for sure, too. I was very impressed with Rita. It was kind of weird that they made Goldar this, like, giant, gold monster thing instead of, like, weird, dog person.
Yeah.
That was, like, a sidekick to her in the show, but, you know, it worked for what it is, and it just reminded me of, like, what they did to the Uzaru in Dragon Ball Evolution, making it Piccolo's minion. You know,
that was part of Goku. Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Dragon Ball Evolution.
But everyone loves that film, Sid. It's so good.
No. Anyway, the main complaint I could see about this film is that it does take a little long to get into the action part of Power Rangers. The movie goes about most of its runtime before they even get into the suits. I think that time is well spent into getting to know the characters and getting invested in them, in what's going on in their lives, and how it relates to their outward struggle to become Rangers and to deal with the weight of responsibility of protecting the world from this larger-than-life threat.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one way I think of it is feels like a long first episode of a Power Rangers TV show, except it's well written and the pacing makes sense. And also it doesn't have cringy humor.
Yes. Most of the humor is generally really good in this movie, and I generally got into it, as well as the emotional moments, especially that scene where all the Rangers are around the campfire and just sharing things about themselves. It was really well taught out, well heartfelt, and I appreciated it. There's also, of course, the elephant in the room we should probably discuss in the Krispy Kreme product placement, which was a little distracting, not gonna lie. But it had but you know, it just got funny after a while and had this good comedic payoff where Rita's just eating Krispy Kreme donuts as Goldar is like digging up the Zeo crystal. So that was a pretty funny moment. So
it made me want Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it was product placement that was done in a self-aware, humorous way. You could tell that by just the line of dialogue where Rita says, "Krispy Kreme must be a very important place." You know, they're totally aware of how goofy it is, so that's what makes it work for me. The self-awareness of it all. Overall, I think that this movie was actually really good. I quite enjoyed it, and I think it has great franchise potential. I definitely would like to see a sequel, see what they would do, where they would take the movie franchise. I know Haim's about has 6 movies planned, and there's a lot of things that they could flesh out. Obviously, Rita's still out there by the end of the movie. They have Tommy they teased that they can bring in. They also, you know, obviously, there's more stuff to do with the Zeo crystal, and of course Lord Zed can show up and stuff, so there's lots of things to do, so I'm pretty interested in that. I think that the movie was pretty well-rounded, had some really good action scenes, like, even if it takes a long time to get to them, I think, like, the last 30 minutes are a pretty fun time in terms of the action, and I enjoyed the movie before that in terms of getting to know the characters. I think it really succeeded in doing its job. The only reason I can see it's getting such poor reception critically is just because the critics are predisposed to not like a Power Rangers movie.
Also, people probably are forgetting that Power Rangers, let's be honest, the Power Rangers shows really aren't that good to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily nostalgic for the Power Rangers franchise. In fact, I never really watched the original Power Rangers.
Yeah, I'm nostalgic for, I guess, Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder.
Yeah.
But, like, even then, like, those two don't hold up that well.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I used to love Power Rangers as a kid, but now I've tried watching, like, newer Power Rangers. I just can't sit, like, for, like, 5 minutes watching that without cringing.
Well, newer Power Rangers is also particularly bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's the thing, like, I've tried watching, like, Super Sentai and stuff, and I enjoy Super Sentai.
Yeah, but
It's weird.
again, Newer Power Rangers is particularly bad. You should watch Lucaris' History of Power Rangers. He does not have nice things to say.
That's literally the only way I can experience Power Rangers now, through his videos, because I can't sit through the shows.
That's how I learned about most of Power Rangers, because I've seen only a couple seasons of it as a kid.
Thanks, Linkara.
Yes. Though, this movie did legitimately make me want to get into Power Rangers on a deeper level and actually watch it.
But Sid, Blue Ranger is better.
Sure. That's besides the point.
It also has a better theme song.
There's no denying that. Speaking of the theme song, though, it was a little disappointing in this movie that they didn't play the theme song extensively. Like, they play it a little bit. They played
when they, merge with the Zords, finally.
Yeah, but even then, it just cuts off so quickly. And, when the movie ends, they don't play it. They just play, "We got the power!" Which is pretty cliche, and also, it's more satisfying if they play the theme song, I was not too big on that, but what can you do?
Yeah. It also did the Zords always have, those, Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphan nerve gear connectors that connect to the suits?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they stole it from IBO. They totally stole it from Gundam. Just like how they stole Rita's death scene at the end from JoJo.
Yeah, there were some JoJo's references you can make about this movie. For sure. But I think that basically sums up what we have to say about Power Rangers. I admit that taking 2 weeks since we've seen the movie to record about this has kind of weakened our hype to talk about it. I blame V-Lord for that because he's the one who kept delaying it.
Sorry.
You're not forgiven.
Aww.
But that's okay. I think that at this point, you'll probably have already heard many great affirmations of the Power Rangers movie, but this is an additional one from people who admittedly aren't big fans of the franchise. We legitimately enjoy this movie a whole ton, and we would recommend you checking it out and supporting it so that more movies in this franchise can be made, because I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, go watch this instead of Ghost in the Shell. Fuck Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell movie's terrible. Burn it. Burn it. Buy tickets to Ghost in the Shell and then just burn them.
We literally actually got a poster.
I'm gonna burn one of those posters.
Yeah.
I am literally gonna burn one of those posters.
Well, we'll film it and we'll upload it to the Manga Mavericks YouTube sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, that about does it for this episode of Movie Mavericks. Episode 6, talking about Ghost in the Shell and Power Rangers. So, V-Lord, where can the good people find you?
The people can find me on Twitter at VLordGTZ. That is VLORDGTZ. I'm not doing much usually, but contact me if you want to talk about something. Conan, JoJo, Slayers, I don't know, whatever.
As for me, you can find me as Lumron Miyasha on Twitter, my anime list, Animation Revelation, a whole bunch of other places. I'm mainly on Twitter and Animation Revelation, though. And of course, you can find our podcasts, both Movie Mavericks and Manga Mavericks, on allcomic.com, as well as on iTunes, and of course, our YouTube channel, which you can just search for Manga Mavericks. Remember, guys, we need 100 subscribers before they can give us our custom URL, so please make sure to like and subscribe our videos and help our channel grow. And I think that about does it. You can follow the show at manga_mavericks on Twitter and mangamavericks.tumblr.com. But otherwise, guys, we will see you next time. Sayonara.
Later.
Sayonara.
Later.
Sayonara.
Later.